Hello my friends, I'm Al and welcome back to Al's Vinyl Collection. Today we're going to be listening to Telegraph Road by Dire Straits for the first time. Thank you everyone who's recommended this. This was so highly recommended on the Brothers in Arms videos, so thank you. From what I know, this song is considered one of Dire Straits' greatest achievements. I'm looking now, it's over 14 minutes long, so I'm expecting something a little different from a standard rock song. But as always, I'm very excited, and let's see where this takes us.
Time ago, came a man on a track, walking 30 miles with a sack on his back, and he put down his load where he thought it was the best, made a home in the wilderness, built a cabin and a winter store, and he plowed up the ground by the cold lake shore. The other travelers came walking down the track, and they never went further, no, they never went back. Then came the churches, then came the schools, then came the liars, then came the rules, then came 3 lanes moving slow. They shut it down. I got a right to go to work, but there's no work here to be found. Yes, and they say we're gonna have to pay what's owed. We're gonna have to reap from some seed that's been sowed. And the birds up on the wires and the telegraph poles, they can always fly away from this rain and this cold. You can hear them singing out the telegraph code all the way down the Telegraph Road. I'd sooner forget, but I remember those nights. Yeah, life was just a bet on a race between the lights. You had your head on my shoulder, you had your hand in my hair. Now you act a little cold, like you don't seem to care. But just believe in me, baby, and I'll take you away from out of this darkness and into the day. From these rivers of headlights, these rivers of rain, from the anger that lives on the streets with these names. As I run every red light on memory lane, I see desperation explode into flames, and I don't wanna see it again. From all of these signs saying sorry, but we're closed all the way. Down the Telegraph Road.
Wow, what an immense soundscape. Truly, what an incredible ending to that song. So I made a few notes whilst the song was going on at the start. You probably noticed, I'm not sure, but at 14 minutes, there's going to be a lot to talk about. And boy, there was a lot to talk about. So that opening was beautiful. It sounded to me almost like a distant whistling. Obviously, it's a synthesizer. At first, I did think, is there someone whistling? But you can just, you can hear it. Obviously, it's synth after kind of 13 seconds or so. But it created, for me personally, now I'll need you to fill in the gaps on Telegraph Road. I believe Telegraph Road is a real place. I did do a little bit of research into the song prior to this. But to me, it conjured up this image of a haunting, almost eerie kind of atmosphere that just immediately painted this picture that once the instruments came in and when they gradually emerged, which was beautiful, it helped to create this mental picture of a lonely highway at dusk or dawn. I'm not too sure, but that's all I could think. I could just think this vast, stretching highway in a barren landscape, and this kind of desolate loneliness. So the acoustic guitar, beautifully recorded. Beautifully. The way it's mic'd up is gorgeous. You can hear the body and the character of the instrument, and it's lovely to hear. And it's nice it's nice to not hear just the strings. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. The drum sound, fantastic. Again, as with the acoustic guitar, but everything with the drums was just EQ'd nicely. The reverb, just a touch, added lovely ambience to the sound without washing out the kit, which I think was great. The mix is incredibly spacious. Now, I had a look halfway through the song. This is in 1982. Now, we know that Brothers in Arms was the first song, at least or the first album, at least for the band, recorded DDD. So I'm going to do some research into this just after finishing this video, and I'll pin a comment just to share my findings. But presumably this was recorded on tape. The dynamic range, kind of the lack of the lack of hiss, basically, for lack of a better term, the lack of white noise in the background. This mix is so clean. It sounds pristine. It sounds like this has been recorded digitally too, frankly. But every instrument in this mix has its own place. And this is something I've noticed with Dire Straits. No instruments are fighting, clashing. You can single-handedly pick out every instrument you're hearing as you're hearing it within its kind of place in the mix, which I think is amazing. But speaking of the mix, one thing that stood out for me was Mark Knopfler's vocal, and this is the second time I've heard this, obviously the second time, with Brothers in Arms as well. But he's quite low in the mix, which is interesting. In many rock songs, you wouldn't hear this. In many rock songs, you'd hear the vocals up front and center. But it's quite refreshing, really, to hear his vocals low in the mix. It helps with the storytelling element, and it lets the instrumentation breathe a bit. Speaking of the instrumentation, I've started to notice a pattern. Now, I say a pattern, but I'm not too sure on this because Money for Nothing and Sultans of Swing are very different. But Brothers in Arms and Telegraph Road have both fallen into a pattern, and it's not a bad thing, where they have quite short verses, and then the gap between the verses is filled with a beautiful instrumental. And the instruments, they're not just playing for the sake of playing, they are adding narrative and character to the song. They feel as vital to the song as the lyrics do. You know, they're not just solos, they're not just noodling here and there. And you know, with solos, Mark Knopfler, guitar playing, phenomenal. I expected nothing less, but I was genuinely surprised that the last kind of 5 minutes or so of that song was just him noodling with no ideas reused, which is amazing. You know, 5 minutes of creating new ideas, but interesting ideas is really something. The tom fill kind of midway through, beautiful. Love the percussion hand hard right. Lovely reverb on that. It felt huge without being overblown. And the lyric, "The birds can fly away," that really hit me. Is the feeling of freedom versus being trapped by circumstance. The birds can leave whenever they want, but the people in the song can't. This was a lovely song, a lovely song to listen to. Really great. What I will say is I would like to start doing videos where I listen to the song for this portion of the audience, and then, without listening to it again, I'll just make some notes, do some critical listening, and then do a kind of a more in-depth technical analysis. If that would be of interest, let me know, because there's a lot to talk about with this song that I would like to talk about. But I think it would be nice to have 2 videos for kind of 2 separate audiences, and if you want to listen to both, be my guest. Please let me know what your thoughts on the lyrics are. I love the lyrics. I think it was a really interesting image it was conjuring up. But again, I was more focused on what I was hearing with the from the mixing perspective. But please let me know your thoughts on the lyrics. I love seeing and reading your interpretations. Let me know if there are more songs you want me to listen to. Please, I love listening to Dire Straits. If it's a live version of this song, if there's a video to watch, or if there's another Dire Straits song, please do let me know. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining me. One final thing, over 96% now of the people who watch these videos aren't subscribed. It's free. You can always unsubscribe later, so if you would consider it, it would mean the world to me. But thank you so much for joining me on this journey. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.